I'm Tracy Williams, your host, and welcome to Bounce TV, your one-stop shop for the tools you need to build a resilient, impactful, and successful life. A show with guests who are the best in the business at winning the game of life and in sports. So get ready for transformative and powerful information in this episode. Let's go. Welcome back, Bounce World. This is your host, Tracy Williams, here on Bounce TV with another fully packed informational show, and not just informational. Today, transformational. That's right. Not only are we going to get you feeling like you're going to make it, we're going to help you create a world that's going to speak to you long after this is over with, that's going to tell you, you definitely going to make it. Now, every week, I know I always say that this is the best of the best, but I really do mean it this time. Today we got in studio, that's right, the famous, hard to catch up with, always busy, Kayla Franchesca. Kayla, so good to see you.
Good to see you too. That was great. This is what it feels like to be on the other side.
Yeah. You know, everybody's out there watching you and everything. You know, right before we went on the air, Kayla was looking at the screen and she saw herself and she said, wow, I look so much smaller, you know, which I thought was great because, again, once I start telling you about who she is and what she does, and she starts to sharing with you, she really lives a life that's way bigger than her stature. So if you're one of those people out there that's still thinking small, this is the last day for that. She's going to get you thinking big. Now, Kayla, you work with the Charity Bounce organization, doing a great job, as our media, head of all of our media. She also gets on me to make sure I'm on time or close to the time when it goes. But really what I want to talk a lot about today is that when I first met you, or before I met you, our program director, Stacy, gave me a little bit of background on you. She said, she plays hockey. So immediately I thought, she plays girls field hockey. I immediately thought, skirt out there, you know, maybe knee pads or elbow pads. Now I know I'm gonna probably get in trouble with that and I'm gonna get some emails. I'm not being misogynist now. I was just thinking what I thought. Then I actually saw you walk in the gym that day and I immediately thought field hockey, but I couldn't be more wrong. She actually plays ice hockey. That's right. One of the most rough, toughest physical sports that you can play. I mean, some folks call it downright violent. Now, again, you look at her stature, you're probably thinking what I think. But if you ever get a chance to look her in the eyes, you'll see that fire and you'll understand why. Not only has she been able to play hockey, ice hockey, the physical edition, but also she's been able to excel in the sport of hockey. Kayla, I like I said, I didn't want to talk a whole lot. Wanted to kind of get his time to you. Just let us know, start from the beginning. How do you, living in the Philippines, this is almost like the Jamaican bobsled story, you know. I don't think ice hockey arena when I think Philippines. And I definitely wasn't thinking that you were playing. Tell us your story. Tell me, how did you get into it? What was your inspiration? Yeah, just give it all to us.
Yeah, well, nobody does. Nobody thinks of ice hockey when you say Philippines. Mm-hmm. And there's actually only one ice skating rink in the whole country. I think now there's two, but when I was growing up, there was only one. I was about 7 years old and I was watching the movie, which I'm pretty sure you know of, The Mighty Ducks.
Yep. Know it.
And if you haven't seen that movie, you should watch it. It's really cool. It's for kids. But I watched that movie when I was about 6 or 7 years old. And I remember seeing in the movie that there was only one girl in the group of boys. And I just remember telling my mom, I want to be like her. I want to play ice hockey. How come she can do it amongst all the other boys? I want to do that too. So my mom and my dad took me ice skating the very next day. And like every other coach would say when you're young, they would say to your parents, she's a natural. She should enroll to more lessons. And I remember that coach saying to my mom, she's really good. Just enroll her in figure skating. And at 7 years old, I don't know where it came from, but I was immediately determined to say no. So I told them, no, I don't want to do figure skating. I want to do ice hockey. And the coach said, no, but figure skating is for the girls and then ice hockey is for the boys. And from that moment on, I already had that little bit of fire in me, kind of like a bit of stubbornness saying, you can't tell me what to do. I want to play ice hockey. That's why I want to play ice hockey, because none of the girls play it. And that's where it kind of started. And I was only doing it for fun for a bit. When I was about 10, until about 10 to 13 years old, I was doing it for fun. And my uncle, who was actually grew up in Canada, Vancouver, he was playing hockey there, and he was really good. He had like a really bright future in ice hockey, but unfortunately he got injured. So he decided to go back to Philippines and try to, get some opportunities there and meet some of his relatives. So that was the very first time I met him, and he actually became my coach. And he was the one who really trained me and taught me a lot about hockey, because, when you grow up in the Philippines, ice hockey is not really developed because, it's not really a country. It's a tropical country.
Right.
So having my uncle come from Canada to teach everyone, not just me, about what actual hockey is like, he actually really helped develop hockey in the Philippines as well. And he helped me a lot, like in terms of, my skills and my hockey sense. And from then on, I had a lot of passion. That's where my passion for hockey really started. And I became really competitive, and I started competing internationally. Yeah, from then on, I was traveling just recreational tournaments first. And I was always playing with the boys because we didn't have enough girls to form a women's team, which I'm grateful for now, because playing with the boys was where I got my strength from, my aggressiveness from.
Right.
You learn a lot more when you play with the boys.
Right.
But I remember being frustrated because there were times where I didn't get a lot of ice time. They weren't playing me. I could feel it. There are doubts because I am a girl and I'm playing a tough sport with boys. So that happens. They sort of look down on you. So I've always wished for a women's team where I could really show off my skills. I could sort of become a leader because it's really hard to become a leader in a boys' team. And when that opportunity finally came, when we finally had enough girls to form a women's team, I was so happy. And we were the first Philippine women's national team in the history, because there's no one else in Philippines. But even that, like, it's just an honor to make that history and to even make it greater. We won a gold medal for the Philippines in 2 years ago, in 2019 in Abu Dhabi. It was the International Ice Hockey Federation, so IIHF, which is the biggest ice hockey federation in the world. So the top divisions for that are, Canada, USA, and we're in the, lower division because we're just starting out. But to win in our division as the first Philippine women's national team was amazing. It was the best moment of my life in my hockey career. Yeah.
I can imagine. But I'm going to back up just a little bit. You're on the boys' team. highly competitive situation. But internally, you just as competitive as those boys are, if not more. But yet, you're not getting the playing time that you thought you deserved. Why didn't you quit? I mean, and the reason I ask that because that's what normally a lot of people out there quit. And y'all know what I'm talking about, and who I'm talking about, I guess. Why? What was it inside of you? Was it a conversation? Was it a feeling? You know, it might not even been a conversation with yourself. Was it or anybody else? Why didn't you quit when you were sitting there on that bench and not really getting the opportunity that you thought you worked so hard for? Why didn't you quit then?
Yeah, I thought about that a lot during my playing career because one, I didn't get a lot of playing time with the boys, and two, it's a really expensive sport as well, hockey in general, with all the gear and all that stuff. And my mom and I were doing really well, but we weren't like rich. So it was a bit hard to pay for all that stuff. And three, I couldn't really see a future in ice hockey compared to if you're a basketball player in the Philippines or a swimmer and stuff like that. I didn't see a future. So there were a lot of doubts. I questioned myself a lot. Why am I playing this sport? It's like in the Philippines. It's so weird. I feel like I'm wasting my time. But I think I didn't quit. Well, I know I didn't quit because I really loved it. I love the sport. It's fun. It's fun. And when I get out on the ice, it feels like meditation to me. You don't think about anything else. It's like in every sport as well. You don't think about anything else outside of the ice. I'm there just playing and doing what I love. And that was enough push for me to not quit. And I think I was a stubborn kid.
Yeah.
The more that they didn't want to play me, the more I wanted to play.
Wow.
The more that they didn't want to play me, I kind of took it personal. Like, you don't deserve here. You don't deserve to be here. You're a girl. I wanted to stay more. Yeah. I wanted to kind of like irritate them more. Yeah. I'm not going anywhere. Yeah. So that was kind of like the reason why I didn't quit. I didn't want to go anywhere. I wanna stay here. I wanna show you that I can play. Yeah.
And you know, when I said in the beginning, y'all, you gotta just look at her eyes. You see all of that in there. That you're not going anywhere. You're gonna be here. You're gonna prove it to them, and you're gonna show them. I want you for a moment. There's a kid out there right now, and it might not even be a kid. It could be a young adult, somebody out there. They really, really love what they're doing. But things are not really clicking. Things are not working. They're not really seeing any movement. They probably feel like they don't even have any traction for any movement. All they got is that feeling. All they got is that passion. Would you say stubbornness that you had was the other ingredient that did it, or was it the passion alone?
It was the passion alone. Yeah. Yeah, because at the end of the day, if you're really, even if you are really good and you're seeing traction and you're seeing progress, I don't think that's gonna go anywhere unless you love it. You might be progressing, but I don't think it's worth it if you're not happy and if you're not loving it. So for you to be doing what you love is already enough. That's my opinion. If you love what you're doing, if you don't see any progress now, but you do really love what you're doing, I still believe that it's worth it because life's so short. I don't know why you would want to do something that you hate or what you don't like. I guess, yes, in some cases you do have to make sacrifices and, in terms of your situation, but I just think that now, in this moment, especially now when there's a lot of distractions in this modern world and, the pandemic and a lot of stuff going on, it tests you. Yeah, it tests you. It's really important to find what you love. Yeah. Otherwise, you're you're not gonna be happy. Basically, you're not gonna feel complete. You're gonna be lost.
Yeah. You talk about distractions, especially with this pandemic. COVID, as everybody out there knows, has changed the world we live in on so many levels. Not only just how we interact with each other, with the mask and everything, but also, things like logistically, like the blockchain or whatever, how things move, cancellations, protocols, all of this stuff has changed it. And if you're really not passionate about whatever it is, we even see in relationships, so many people got divorced or broke up during COVID. And either because it separated them from people they loved, or they were with people all the time and found that they didn't love them as much. So with all of that stuff, those are the obvious things. But there was something way before COVID, I like to affectionately call them haters that's out there. Those people that doubt you. Now, I'm going to tell you, haters sometimes wear disguises. Sometimes they disguise as your best friend, your dad, a teacher, because a lot of times, people will look at you and it's not because they want to hurt your feelings, but they're like, come on. Maybe some of those people that was telling you, or maybe that coach that was saying, ice skating, he might, I don't know, was thinking, well, I don't want you to get hurt, so you won't get hurt over there. Sometimes it's unintentional like that, but they still hate us. How do you deal? Because and before that too, I one of the things I love about her, when I say things like, when I first met you, I did not think hockey and stuff. She never says it, but I feel this. I feel her kind of bridge up, and she don't like it. She don't like it when I say that. I feel all of it on this side of my face when I'm saying it. Even though I'm talking to somebody else, I'm talking to you right now. I still feel that. It's like you questioning her ability, and I love that. I love that competitive spirit about you. I love that strength about you. I don't ever want you to stop doing that. So what I do now, I look at myself as stoking your fires, not hating. I'm stoking them and making you just burn more, stronger, or brighter. But back to them haters. When those people who are seeing you, and for those of y'all don't know the definition of a hater, those people that are seeing you step out of your comfort zone, those people who see you not only have a dream, but you're going after it. And they don't have the courage that you do. They can't get beyond the fear like you've done. And the easiest thing left for them to do, because they feel like you becoming a mirror now. They grew up with you, they see you, but you're going after your stuff. You're changing your life with every thought and every corresponding action. The low-hanging fruit, if I may say, the easiest thing to do now is to try to take shots at you and try to knock holes in your dream. How do you combat that? Because sometimes that stuff comes from people real close to you now.
Yeah.
Because it's easy, people that you don't know, because you don't really care. At least I don't. I don't really care about what they saying anyway. But sometimes certain people, you expect a little bit more from them. But when they tell you, hey, you're wasting time, Kayla. Your life is passing you by because you all hooked up on this hockey thing. And you want to try to not only play hockey at the highest levels, but you want to change the culture in the Philippines and stuff. That's stupid. That's stupid. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I do. I wouldn't say haters, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Growing up playing hockey and really wanting to pursue it, my mom was very supportive, and so was my dad. Mm-hmm. But there was a couple of members in the family, for example, that were very doubtful. They would just always question. They would question me and my mom, how come we spend so much time and money in this sport when it doesn't really have a future in the Philippines, because it's not a sport that you play in a tropical country and a third world country. So I would just always get a lot of questions about why I'm still playing it and why my mom was spending a lot of her money and finances into investing it on my hockey. And, instead of me finding an actual or creating an actual business, focusing on school, which I did. But yeah, I got a lot of doubts from a few members in the family, but I don't know. I just didn't care. It made me even want to do it more, because again, I just love playing, and that was enough for me to shut those doubts and comments off, from even if it was from family and relatives. It just doesn't matter what they say, even if it is your mom, even if it is your dad. I don't think it matters. I think that you should do what you love, even if it does come from a very close family or a very close friend. As long as you feel that you really love it and it makes you feel good, and you're not doing anything. It's not wrong what you're doing. I feel that you should do it. And haters, though, I have experienced a couple of haters that were people that I didn't even know. And I've encountered them a lot growing up, but they were mostly men, because it's a thing. It's a thing when you see a young girl, a small girl playing your sport, it's the ego thing. They have a tendency to, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. And I got that a lot. I got that a lot, actually, a lot here in Australia. So when I moved here. In Philippines, I grew up with a lot of the boys that play there, so it wasn't that bad. They're all my friends and kind of like my brothers. But when I moved here, it was pretty hard, because the very first time I stepped on the ice here, which was in Alexandria, I was invited to join kind of like a recreational tournament. And again, I was the only girl in the team. And I remember the very first day I went in, and I got a lot of looks from the men. And the men here, compared to men in the Philippines, are way different. The men here are like bigger and, much more
bulkier.
Yeah, bulkier. Yeah. So I got looks like, what is this girl doing here? She's gonna get crushed. And I literally heard someone say that.
Yeah.
I heard a man say that when I came in, and while I was putting my gear on, he was just like to his friend, "Oh my God, this girl is gonna get crushed," basically. And I was so excited to get on when I heard that. I was so excited to play when I heard this comment, because, not to be arrogant or anything, but I can play. I've proven that. I've proven myself that. So when I got on the ice that day and I started skating and playing, I noticed that I gained respect immediately, because the guys and the men that were looking at me weird and whispering those comments, they were suddenly asking me who I was. "What's your name? Where are you from?" "Philippines. There's hockey in the Philippines. You can skate." I was finally getting good comments. But yeah, in the beginning, I get a lot of, looks and bad comments, but that's enough to like fire me to show them and keep going.
So you let your game deal with those haters. Would that be something? Could we say it like that?
Yeah. That sounds way better than
I wasn't like her. I let my game tell them, and then I added some on there too. But I mean, like I said, I keep talking about you. If I was able to describe you to somebody, I never could describe you without talking about that passion that I feel when I'm around you. I feel like sometimes I even feel that you just try to be keep it under control or whatever. And am I right about that?
Yeah.
It's like sometimes you keep it like. See, I grew up. I'm the only boy with 6 sisters, so I grew up around strong women, strong, who telling you what they think and telling you what they want you to do, whether it was the right thing or not. They were always that, and I always feel that off of you when I'm talking. But then you smile a lot, and you sometimes feel like you holding that back, but you don't hold it back on the ice, do you?
I can't. If I hold it back, then it's useless. It's pointless. Why I'm there. You should always put your 100%, whether you're playing sport or working or whatever it is that we're doing. Even now, if we're doing this podcast, we should do 100%. I'm trying to do my 100% right now.
And that's totally what's up. Somebody a couple of days ago in America, they was talking about they got this real big goal. They're giving themselves 6 months to do it. Now, I personally said, then, hey, don't do it. Just go on with your life. Do whatever that else. I said, because if you're talking about a goal or your dream, whatever, a dream becomes a goal, I think, when you write it down. Once you write that down, I don't think dreams have any limits. I tell people all the time, I woke up with a feeling that has no ceiling. I woke up, it don't have no limit to what I'm doing. I think it was Master P started his record company, called it No Limit Records, because he wanted anytime anybody addressed him or whatever, they had that mental picture in their mind that there's no limits to that. I just think that if it's something you really, really want in your life, well, you spend your life trying to get it, And like you said, if it ain't something negative and hurting people, let me go ahead and preface with that. But I shouldn't have to, but if I do, it shouldn't have any limits to it. Now, you can tell me now I'm totally wrong in that, and you can say I had 6 months planned out to be good at hockey. If it didn't work, Talk to me about that. If there is a limit, then tell me. If there aren't, then just tell me what the future's going to look like for you. When you die and they write your obituary, what are they going to say about you? What do you want them to say about you, to remember about you? Because, one of the things, we just kind of came off the anniversary again of Kobe Bryant's death. And I said, even though he died at what we would call a young age, 41 years old, I'll be 58 on the 12th of next month. I thought a short life, But then I think about everything he did. Just like I look at you, playing internationally, doing all of this stuff. That's big stuff. I think if you do think about how they died, it's only for a little bit. Well, because most of your time is going to be spent on how they lived. Because they lived in such a way. They were so hungry and thirsty for the things that they wanted in this life.
Yeah.
And they were so passionately going after it. I thought there was no limit. That's why we all couldn't believe he was gone. Yeah. Because, man, it's no limit. One thing you learned about watching him live was it's no limit to this. This is going to keep going. Yeah. I mean, the guy won championships, didn't won an Oscar. Yeah. Who does that? Who leaves basketball and win an Academy Award? Nobody but Kobe does that.
Yeah.
So I really think you cut from that cloth. But then you might blow me up right now and say, I do have a 6-month limit on whatever I'm going to do. And that's okay. Tell me that too. Yeah. But if not, tell me what that looks like. What did the future look like for you?
Yeah. Well, I watched Kobe's movie last week. It was called Muse. I don't know if you've seen it. It was amazing. And it gave me chills because the very last sentence that he said after the movie was, I don't want to fail. For me, failing is even worse than death. And they cut the movie. That was the very last thing he said. And I was like, wow. But yeah, he's amazing. And in terms of goals, I never put a limit or a date on my goals in hockey. I just kept going with the flow. I honestly didn't know where hockey would take me. If you would ask me when I was younger, if, when you grow up, you're going to win a gold medal for the Philippines, I wouldn't have thought so. It was just so, at the moment when I was young, it felt far off. It felt far off from that happening because, one, we were in Philippines.
That's right.
Two, it was a third world country. It was a tropical country. There was just so many things that were negative.
Yes.
But we did it. We were able to do it. And I didn't put a limit on that. I just kept going and playing and loving it. I don't think that, to me, yes, you can write down your goals. You should write down your goals. And you should definitely write how you plan on reaching those goals, because otherwise nothing's going to happen.
Right.
But in terms of putting a limit in them, I don't think that it's necessary. You can reach however far you want to reach, as long as you keep putting in the work 100%. And honestly, with my future with hockey, I don't know where I'm headed, because with the pandemic happening, everything stopped and everything got pushed behind. But I definitely want to play while I can, even if it's just, for fun. Even if it's not for Philippines anymore, I would still love to play, even if I'm 60. If my body can, I would still love to play. I honestly have no plans at the moment with hockey. I just wanna keep loving it. I just want to keep playing. My main goal, really, at the moment, and what I want to be remembered for, is changing the world with young people, which is why I'm with Charity Bounce. And I want to do that through sport. And that's why I reached out as a volunteer first for Charity Bounce. I messaged Stacy and asked if I can do a volunteer work for Charity Bounce, because I want to work with young people and help change their lives, even if it's just one young kid at a time.
Wow.
And I want to do that with the knowledge that I gained from my sport, because I do believe that it's so much easier to teach young people things about life if you do it in games, which is sports.
Yep.
Otherwise, they get bored.
Yep.
So I think sports is a really great tool for, shaping the next generation. And that's why I'm here with Charity Bounce, and I'm doing other stuff with promoting young girls in sport as well. I'm doing a lot of work in that, and that's where I want to focus on moving forward in my future, and that's what I want to be remembered for.
Well, because I know you personally, have worked with you, I can say with no uncertainty that you're doing it. I mean, when you tell our stories online with social media, and I see those kids and stuff, I think you're doing it. And really here with this show, I think this thing is it has no shelf life. It don't have, it's limitless. It's gonna go on and on. So yeah, I think you're really successful because you're doing all of those things. And listen, and like I said, and knowing your story, listening to you to hear it again today. And I hope you not only just listening to her words, but even through the screen or whatever you're watching this on, you can kind of feel what she's saying. Because, sometimes we hear it, but sometimes people, when it's real, like you people feel that. They really do feel you. That's why we say, you feel me? You know, they really feel what you're saying. I think, lastly, I would want to kind of ask you about is that, you know, I think the question was, at your core, who are you? But I not only want you to answer that question, but I also want you to answer that question while also answering this question, which is, what has sports taught you as a young woman? Not only at this age where you are now, but the woman you aspire to be later. What has the ups and downs, the in, the outs, all of the things, this pandemic, all of this stuff that's affected you in this sport, what are some of the things that not only have shaped you, but have taught you or instilled and built in you? What are some of those things? And now, as well as into the future, because again, all of us that play sport, at some point, we transition out of it because we just get older and everything. But to me, I'm still clipping coupons off of basketball. I'm still, in my life, I'm still taking things that I've learned while I played the sport, and it's helping me not only to survive now that I don't play competitively anymore, but thrive too. So in the last question, can you tell me that? Can you tell me what that looks like?
Yeah. Well, definitely who I am at my core. I like to see myself as nobody, but this is just this is me trying to remember that if you take out hockey, if you take out, you know, other talents that I have, I'm just me, basically. I was I was a bit lost during the 2 years of lockdown because there was no hockey. And I was coming, I mean, I'm not old, I'm 28, but but I mean, you know, you think about when you're gonna stop playing, and I thought about that a lot during the pandemic. Once I stopped playing hockey completely, I felt a bit scared. I kind of got scared because a lot of, well, my whole life was from hockey. A lot of the people I know are from hockey, my friends. I do a lot of projects on the side because of hockey. So thankful to my sport because I have projects on the side that gave me those opportunities. But I got a bit lost when I thought about not playing hockey anymore because I kind of didn't know who I am without it. And that's when I started to really focus on my spiritual side, like my meditation side. I'm really into that. And when I started doing that often, I realized that hockey is not who I am. I'm just me. I'm nobody, and I love it. I love being nobody, just me, because it makes it's simple. And that's what I also want to teach to other people, that even if you are good at something, you have to remember your core. That even if you are good at your sport, even if you are talented or skilled, or maybe you're a good artist, you can't let that take over because we're all the same. We're all nobodies. We have to see each other as equals. Yes, show people your talent, but it's being humble still, because ego is a disgusting thing.
Be a killer.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a big lesson that I want to teach people, and especially young people while they're young, you know, at an early age. And you had another question, but I forgot what it was. And I already had the answer to it.
It was that. What are some of the lessons that
Right.
this experience?
Yeah. Yeah.
has taught you that not only have shaped you now as the woman you are now, but you think is going to continue to not only shape but propel you into the woman that you're going to become.
Yeah.
If whatever it could be, one thing, two things, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. I learned a lot from hockey, definitely. And one thing that I learned is keep your family close. That's one thing. None of these things matter, accomplishments, awards, fans, fame, whatever. None of them matters if you don't have family. Especially when you're out there and you're doing your thing and let's say you've become big, you can't really trust anyone. So it's important to keep your family close. And definitely because of sport, I learned how to be strong, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It's really important, especially because outside of my sport, I want to have my own family one day. And when you're the mother or the woman of the family, it's important to be strong mentally and emotionally. When you have your own kids, when you're a wife. And I definitely gained a lot of that lesson from my sport. Especially mentally, because when you're a woman playing in a man's sport, you have all these doubts thrown at you and all these comments, and you can't break down. If you want to keep playing, you just can't break down. You have to be mentally strong, and I think that's the biggest lesson that I've learned in my sport, and to just really not listen to what other people say.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, we can definitely go on and on, but we tape this show, so it's not live in the way that people can call in. So, what I want you to kind of give, how can people get in touch with you? How can they reach you? Because I'm sure they got questions either about hockey and this sport or about some of the other things that you said. I also want to endorse her. She has such a great story and she's so passionate about it. I'm a professional speaker. I understand what it takes. You not only want to give information, but you want to also provoke change in people. In other words, you want them to feel what you're saying. So I totally endorse her. If you're looking for a passionate, articulate speaker, look no further. Get her input. She's getting ready to give you her information on how to get in touch with her. Definitely now that these protocols is relaxing and you got all of these events now, if you want her to come speak to your young women, your young kids, your old people, anybody, definitely, if you want an engaging, enlightening speaker, I definitely endorse Kayla. So give them the information, your tags, whatever it is, how they can reach you and get in touch with you.
Yeah, definitely just Instagram. It's the biggest thing right now, and it's so easy to get in touch with people there. And I try to be active there, so definitely just at Kayla Franchesca on Instagram. And I think the first person that'll pop up is me because there's nobody else named that. So,
Kayla Franchesca. Well, there you have it. Thank you guys again for joining us for yet another information-packed episode of Bounce TV. Now, keep your locks. Next episode, same bounce time, same bounce channel. We'll be right back at you. Peace.